Hello and welcome to your first class of Music and Culture. My name is Andy Pettit. I'll be your instructor for this semester. And I'm very excited to get to know you guys, even if we're working asynchronously online. I'll get to know you through our emails and our interactions over Zoom as well when I meet with you individually. But this class is really going to be fun, I think, exposing you to a wide variety of music and different intellectual topics that will hopefully make you think differently about the world and about the music you listen to and about the music you perform. And it's going to be a fun journey together, and I look forward to going on that with you.
Like I said, my name is Andy Pettit. I did my PhD in ethnomusicology, which is effectively what this course is. Finished that in 2014 at UCLA, and I taught at UCLA for a couple of years after that before moving back to Colorado. I came to ethnomusicology kind of from a performance background. So I did a viola performance degree at the University of Colorado in Boulder and did some work at Peabody Conservatory before kind of moving into the ethnomusicology world and starting the study of the Indian sitar about 20 years ago. So I've been kind of actively performing up until a few years ago, and now mostly I'm doing teaching. I teach privately and also at CU Denver. I spent a lot of time in India doing research and also studying the music as well. These are a couple pictures from most of my field work done in really almost coming up on a decade ago. My research for my dissertation was actually on lullabies in urban India and kind of how the world is changing so quickly. India is urbanizing and kind of moving from a rural type of society to a very urban, very metropolitan society, and that's changing how people sing to children and how that change and how that shift in culture, the shift in living circumstances, etc., really impacts how people relate to their children. And a lot of this was just inspired by my daughter, who was actually born a few months before I went on my dissertation fieldwork trips in 2011, 2012. But I had a great time there, and I would love to talk to you more about this research. But really, that's not the focus of our class. The focus of our class is about understanding kind of the whole of the world, the whole of music and culture, and I hope to give you a great introduction to that. Just thought I'd show one picture of who I am more, so because I know it's difficult in an online class to really get to know your peers and your instructor, but this is me and my wife and my two kids. I now live up in Fort Collins, and we love spending time in the outdoors, so I split my time between performing music, taking care of kids, and teaching as well. So the purpose of this course really is to give you a much broader view of music than you may have gotten in some of your other courses. I think music theory is great, songwriting is great, recording arts classes are all wonderful classes. But I think the goal of this course, and it's a newer course for CU Denver to be offering, to be requiring really, is to put music in a much broader context for you. So we're going to discuss music in culture. We're going to discuss music from around the world, and really the way I do it is to kind of I've chosen topics that will go throughout the semester, whether or not it's music and race or music and gender or music and nationalism, whatever it is. I choose these topics, and I've chosen select music from America, from Europe, from Africa, from Asia, all over the world, really, and we kind of explore how these topics like music and race and gender, etc., are related to music and how music really informs our experience as humans. So really, this course isn't an introduction to music as a human phenomenon. I think it's really important to understand, again, like this broader context, broader than you would get in this music school at CU Denver, but understand music as kind of a global human phenomenon. So just for fun, I thought I would give you a couple of different examples of the types of music we'll be covering in this class. These are just kind of randomly chosen examples, but I thought I would play them for you. And as kind of a fun little quiz to start the semester off, I thought you should maybe listen to these examples, write down what you hear in them, what strikes you about them, what do you think the use or function of this music is, and I'll play these three examples right in a row, and then I'll discuss kind of what I see as the thread that connects all three of them.
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
So that's the first example. The second example I'll play you is a bit different. And the third example.
When laden with troubles and burdened with grief.
So those three examples are from different types of music from different parts of the world, and really, I think by the end of this class, you'll be able to analyze what you heard in these examples and say, oh, now I understand the function. You have a guess of where these musics are from. So the first example was kind of what you typically hear in a kind of an American yoga studio / kirtan event, where you have very kind of Western harmonies and very kind of Western accented words, and you heard some tabla drums in there. You heard some other things, kind of a mixture of music. So the second example you heard was a piece from a Tibetan Buddhist chant, and you could hear some pretty different timbres in there, very different sounding horns. And if you listened very carefully, you could hear some chanting going in the background. And the third example was one of a very old African American spiritual. And so maybe if you guys were awake and astute, you caught the kind of thread between there, which I chose as kind of music and spirituality in those three. And so I think by the end of this class, you'll really be able to pick out these threads in the different musics you hear. You'll be able to pick out and understand how these musics operate in context, in their cultural context. But I think the important point here is this course is not just to introduce you to or expose you to a variety of world music. You can do that on your own. YouTube is a great resource for that. But it's really to try and expose you to some new musics, but to really make you understand the meaning and the context behind why we make and why we consume music, to understand how music not only kind of reflects culture, but actually helps create culture, and how music gives shape to culture. And I think this is really going to help give you a direct, a better understanding of what's happening today in the music industry. If you're a recording arts major, or if you're a music business major, I think having some broader context of what's going on in the world will really actually very directly impact your potential career choices.
So I wanted to give you a kind of quick breakdown of the kind of different assignment categories in the course grading for this class. We'll cover each one of these categories in the next few slides in more detail. But kind of more importantly, to start off with, is I want you to take this class progressively. I want you to take it every week, kind of do some work with it. It really is. It's much more easier to take this, pretend like it's an in-person class rather than kind of put things off or procrastinate. So don't procrastinate in the class, and also don't take it don't work too far ahead. That can also cause some problems too, because each one of our assignments have specific due dates. The quizzes have specific dates that they'll be due, and so you kind of need to kind of keep really right around the same pace as each other, even though you can take some of the course and kind of do it asynchronously. Also, what's important is that no background in music is required for this class. I know most of you are music majors or have some background in music, but if I do use specialized terminology that you don't understand, please just let me know. Send me an email. I can meet with you individually. We can kind of cover anything you didn't understand in the lectures, and I'd be happy to do that on Zoom or just do that over email. So just kind of, again, be present and raise your hand if you have any questions. One of the easiest ways to stay on top of things is really make sure you read the syllabus. And I know this is kind of said by all professors out there, and oftentimes people don't do it, but there's a lot of information in the syllabus that I give you that should really answer most questions. And I get a ton of questions, especially at the beginning of the semester, about this or that, and most of it's laid out in the syllabus. So make sure to take your time, read through the syllabus. If you have any questions about it still, then you can come talk to me on email or on Zoom. I know the first quiz actually has a question or two about specific content from the syllabus, so make sure you definitely take a look at it, because I get tons of questions that could easily be answered by just reviewing the syllabus. So I just want to give you a quick overview of how to navigate my class in Canvas. Always kind of go to the home screen, then navigate to the weeks that we're in. Right now we're in week 1. I want to give you an example from week 2 from our Soundscape lecture. Here, if you go to Soundscape space, the first thing you'll see is the reading or viewing. In this case, we have 2 readings that are due for that one lecture. Following that, you'll have listening and video examples that I really would prefer you read or watch or listen before you go view the lecture itself. Some of these are quite long, so you don't have to listen to all of them, but I would say listen to as much as you can. And finally, you get to the lecture itself, and you can go through that, listening and taking notes from that. I will, throughout the lecture, actually reference sound recordings for the most part, or videos to watch with the lecture. And so I'll say kind of pause the lecture and go to these videos and watch them. These are really important to give you context, to give you entertainment and things like that. So there's a lot of information you'll get, so don't skip those videos. A few of the videos, like for this example here, some of those other videos are quite long, and I don't necessarily always expect you to watch the entire thing. So especially the sound recordings can be hours long. I want to give you the full thing rather than kind of cut you off. The video, as I give you, are generally targeted, and I want you to kind of keep with those, watching those whole videos. So again, homepage, find your week, find your class, do the reading, do the listening examples before you get to the lecture video. If you do that, you're going to succeed really well in this class. Oftentimes I'll be kind of going through my lecture video. I won't be referencing the readings, but I'll expect you to have that knowledge in your head. And once you're able to do all that and you can get to the lecture, you'll have a much more successful time at understanding what I'm talking about. And hopefully I'm obvious and kind of clear anyway. So again, watch the lecture. Make sure you also watch the videos and other listings that I reference in that lecture. Again, they have so much information that you need to succeed. Regarding the readings, most are available. There are web pages. They are freely accessible to anyone. A few of our readings do require you to be signed into your kind of CU Denver account or access them through the on-campus Wi-Fi system. If you haven't already, go set up your kind of Global Protect VPN and Duo to access some of those readings that would normally the list show as restricted if you weren't on campus or have that VPN running at the time. Nothing in this class requires a subscription. Nothing requires payment for everything. Everything should be freely available to you as long as you are, again, signed in to your account at CU Denver or using the on-campus Wi-Fi. If you have any problems with this, let me know. There's a lot more information about this on the syllabus and how to access these readings if you have trouble. In particular, I have several articles from the New York Times, and this requires you to take a couple steps to set up a free account through CU Denver that gives you access to all of the New York Times for the entire time you're a student. So make sure you look at the syllabus specifically for those few readings. I know that's been a problem in the past, but just take a quick look about how to do that. If you have any problems, again, let me know and I can walk you through the process. So the readings are really central to this course, and I really think that if you are taking this course, you do the readings, you watch the lecture videos, you will have no problem doing really well in this class. What I would make sure you want to do is plan ahead for the readings. Some of them are short, some of them are quite long, and make sure you give yourself time to actually get through these readings. I know that in, I think, week 2 in the music and architecture lectures, there's a couple chapters out of a book. It's about 60, 70 pages, whatever it is. So make sure you give yourself time to finish those. There are also some readings, and hopefully I'll alert you to these beforehand, especially our readings on music and capitalism, that are a little bit more intellectually challenging, and I want to also give yourself time to complete those readings and think about them because they actually are really important and have a wealth of information, but just plan ahead for your readings, okay? Again, make sure you have the VPN installed for downloading your restricted readings or your quote-unquote restricted readings if you're off campus, or if you come on campus, you can actually mostly, for the most part, download all the readings that are in PDF form all at once. That might be one of the easiest ways to make sure you're not missing out on those readings the night before class or something like that. So the lecture videos are the biggest portion of this class. They're based on, or at least the themes and topics of the lectures are based on your readings. So it's really important that you do your readings first and then watch the lecture videos. I won't necessarily cover all the material from the reading in the lecture. Sometimes I do, just to make sure you got it. But sometimes I'll just take the reading as inspiration for the lecture, and then we'll go further. So it's really important you do reading and then lecture, and don't skip on either because you'll miss out quite a bit. treat the lectures, if you can, like a normal class. Come prepared, be present, be actively listening. This isn't a really passive experience. You need to be able to take notes and really think about the topics, the theories, the music, the cultures we're talking about throughout the class. If you sit back and kind of kick your feet up, it might be more difficult to recall. So really try and treat this with some attention. Try to come here with kind of ready like you would in a normal class. During most lectures, I will also incorporate video or audio examples. And what I'll do, because of copyright issues, for the most part, what I do is I'll reference the video or audio example and have you pause the lecture video and then come back and I'll then kind of rediscuss or analyze what you watched after that. So you'll be juggling two different windows at least when you're watching the lecture video on your computer. And it's important just to kind of keep on top of that. And don't skip the video and audio examples because they really do add a lot of fun and B, a lot of context and important information during the lecture. So really, again, follow along, treat this like you're in a normal class. So starting this semester, I'm going to do something slightly different with the quizzes. In the past, I've had you actually do reading logs or things like that to kind of make sure you've done the readings on time. This year, I'm going to give you a little bit of a break on your writing from that. So there are no reading logs this year, but the quizzes are kind of bulked up a bit to make it a little bit more, make sure you've done the readings and watched the lectures, kind of give them some more weight. That's why they're about 35% of your overall grade. So there are 5 quizzes. They're given every 3 weeks, weeks 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. Generally, they'll open on the kind of a particular day, either Wednesday or Thursday, and then be open for a couple of days. And you have about 25 minutes to answer the questions, all the questions involved. I think the quizzes will be around 15 questions, maybe 20 questions, something like that. Generally, people finish their quizzes in about 5 or 6 minutes, so it shouldn't be an issue. But if you need more time at all, or you have any accommodations, please let me know. But again, the quizzes are based on the readings and on the lectures. They're not cumulative, so basically the quizzes will cover the kind of the last 3 weeks of material. But I do expect you to have to remember some kind of real important basic concepts from throughout the class. But for the most part, the quizzes focus on the last few weeks of the lectures and their readings.
Another kind of a larger paper is the soundscape paper, and this will be due really after we discuss in week 2 of the course. We're going to discuss music and space and architecture, and so I want to have you write a paper where you go out and observe a soundscape, and we'll talk more about this again in week 2. But I want you to go out to a place where you observe a space of sound, and that could be either natural space or city space or even indoor space. But you go there specifically just to kind of set yourself in that place to listen to all the sound, all the vibration, all the timbre, all the even kind of physical vibration you're getting, and then write a paper about it. So I want you to sit someplace for at least 15 minutes with your eyes closed, turn your phone off, and really be very present in that space. And I think students, in all my classes have found the soundscape paper really fun and almost, in a sense, eye-opening. It's rare we actually sit someplace and just listen for a period of time. So sit someplace for 15 minutes, turn off your phone, listen to the space at different distances, listen to different frequencies, volumes, timbres, any other stimulations you can perceive. And once that 15 minutes is up, you take notes right away so you can kind of keep that the ideas fresh in your mind. And then it's your chance to write a paper about this experience. And part of the reason I start with the soundscape paper is it's a little bit easier. It's really much more of a kind of a narrative of your experience, and you can kind of work with language, and it gives me a chance to give you some feedback on your writing that is not so maybe an academic type of a paper. So you'll write a paper about the experience, what you heard, where you were, what influenced the soundscape, how sound and physical space interacted, how those manifested in your head, really what the soundscape brought back in terms of memory and or emotion in your head. And so you'll put this paper, put on paper your experience as eloquently and as just descriptively as you can. And the paper is about 1,000 to 2,000 words. If you're having trouble filling up 1,000 words, really try to think about the ideas of timbre and frequency and architecture and space and all these other things. It shouldn't be a hard thing to fill up 1,000 words. But the most important part for the paper as well, for all the kind of larger papers, is that you're including some information and you're making references to either information in the lectures and especially information in the readings. And so you're going to have references and citation. That's a really important part to kind of integrate the theories and ideas we're talking about in class and put them in the paper. So it's not just a descriptive paper, it also is slightly academic in terms of making references too.
And the third kind of larger assignment in the class is the concert or performance ethnography and analysis. And this is really your chance to go out and see performances. It could be a concert, it could be some other different type of performance, and bring in and kind of understand this performance in its cultural context. And so part of the report will be just giving me basic facts about what happened, who performed, where was it, when, etc. What was the audience like? How was the event staged? Were there any things that the musicians or performers did that kind of presented to you maybe some insight into who they are, what they believe, all these kind of things. What was the audience reaction, your reaction, all these things like this. We'll talk much more about what an ethnography is throughout the course, during the course, and I'll have a specific lecture actually devoted to ethnography and writing and things like that. So it'll be much more clear in the coming days. But really, the idea is not just a presentation of what happened. The real heart of an ethnography is to try and analyze the actions of people on stage or people in the audience, or your reaction even, your kind of reaction to what was going on, and try to put that in a cultural context, but understand what all this means. So the heart of an ethnography is trying to understand what's the meaning behind action, meaning behind the performance, what's the meaning behind every person's everyday behaviors. Why do certain people hold a guitar a certain way? What does it mean when people do certain things? And that is really the goal of ethnography, is to understand the kind of meaning behind all this stuff. And you could talk about issues of, gender, race, or sexuality, identity, all these kind of things, how you can draw on these concepts that we'll be talking about throughout the course and use those again to analyze what's going on in the performance that you choose. One thing I want to say about this is make sure you look ahead for concerts, because oftentimes the free ones or the easy ones to get to disappear quickly, and the longer you wait, the fewer options you have to get something that's either close or free or whatever you like, or something you actually enjoy going to. And like I said, this can be virtually any thing that involves music. It could be a live performance. I also accept ethnographies on live stream and VR performances, but I really encourage you to do ones that are contemporaneous with our time. So don't look back into the 1970s and watch a video about Pink Floyd or whatever like that. I want you kind of doing things that are in the moment right now today. But if you have questions about that, or you need help finding concerts, there's a lot of resources online. But if you also are having trouble finding something that'll work for you, just contact me. We can talk about it. We can find something that'll be fun for you to observe, and also be helpful for kind of applying all these topics and theories and intellectual ideas for your analysis. So this is the last big portion of a big project for your grade in this class, is a research project. And I've left this, I've intentionally left this kind of wide open for you to design something that really would be interesting to you, be valuable, maybe have you learn something beyond what we cover in this class. So I've left open the format and the actual topic completely open to you. And you and I will work together over email and in face-to-face or Zoom, and kind of design a topic that will work for you and be interesting. So you can do a traditional research paper where you choose a topic and you just do about an 8 to 10 page paper and like you normally would for another class. You can do a video or podcast where you do the same sort of research for a paper, but then also put that into a really fun, creative format where you can do visuals and link music in there and have a good time with that. You can also do an ethnographic interview and analysis with different artists around the area, and really get to know them, and then kind of do more of a kind of ethnographic type paper. And all these, again, we'll talk about individually, and we'll find out what works best for you. There are 3 components to the research project, though, that are really important that you keep in mind. The first component of the research, the final project grade, is the topic approval. And it's really important for you to start thinking about what you want to start researching early in the semester. I believe it's week 7 when your topic approval is due. And what that means is you're going to contact me over email or messaging, and we'll we'll kind of work out a topic that is interesting and achievable within the semester timeline. Plan ahead, plan several weeks ahead, so you're starting this process early. The last thing you want to do is try and email me the day that topic approval is due and expect approval to happen right then. Normally what happens is students will email me their idea, their topic, or a general idea, and I'll ask them to refine it some further. I'll give them some advice or some hints, and I would like to see at least a couple references to scholarly literature or a material that you might possibly use in your research, just to show me that you kind of got the process started. But again, I'll probably go back and forth with you throughout 3 or 4 emails to finally come down to a good topic that will work for the semester, that'll be interesting to you, that'll be valuable for you to do. The second component of the research project, and these components are the same no matter if it's a research paper or a podcast or video or whatever it is. The 3 components are all the same. The second component is the Writing Center feedback. The CU Denver has a great Writing Center. It's free for students, and I think every person who's used it has found it very valuable. I've always kind of universally, people have told me that. So you have to make an appointment to either drop your paper with them or drop a rough draft with them, or you can meet over Zoom with them with the Writing Center, and you can work through some issues. Sometimes it's as much as designing a good thesis. Sometimes it's working out intricate grammar details, whatever it is. They'll meet you where whatever help you need, they'll meet you where you're at. And so that Writing Center feedback, you need to schedule that appointment really early. I can't emphasize this enough. The appointments, the consultation appointment slots disappear as the semester goes on. So what I would say the most important thing for you to do is make an appointment early, make an appointment later on in the semester so you just have that in your calendar. If you wait and you put off making an appointment with the Writing Center, you most likely will miss this portion of your paper because they fill up very quickly, and there's nothing you can do about that. So I'm warning you right now, it's really important to even if at the end of this lecture, go out and make the appointment, have that duty on your calendar so you can look forward to that and not miss out. And then the final portion obviously is the final paper, final research, podcast or video cast, etc. And all these things will be designed with me individually, so it'll kind of hopefully be something that'll be interest to you. I've had projects on K-pop and American culture. I've had projects on ancient Japanese music. It's really it runs the gamut of anything that touches sound. Some of them have been very technical about technology. Some have been very cultural about identity and cultural issues that are pertinent today. So really start thinking about something that you like or you want to know more about, and we can start the process of getting a good research topic that's achievable and interesting for you. It's also important to remember that the topic approval and the Writing Center feedback, although they're listed as on Canvas, they're listed as not contributing to your final grade. What happens is if you're missing either one of those pieces, the topical approval or the writing consultation proof, if you're missing those pieces, then I take percentages off your final project itself in the end. So although Canvas makes me list them as not contributing to your final grade, that's not actually true. So be aware of that too. So I don't love talking about this idea of academic honesty, but every semester I have issues with this. It's really important that you do your own work. You do work that is original to this class and not using other work from other classes and things like that. Inevitably, 1 or 2 people throughout the semester will try to pass off work that's either not their own or they've used for other classes or had AI generated for them. And inevitably, they always get caught, and it causes a big issue, big kind of mark against you from the university. It can actually even lead to you being expelled from the university if things get too bad. So make sure you, when you're posting your assignments to Canvas, they will be kind of run through the Turnitin plagiarism software. I never only just rely on Turnitin. I always investigate all the kind of issues that may arise individually. And so I investigate these things, and I'll have to have a conversation with you if there are any issues. If you have any questions about how to cite things and kind of you do things appropriately and how to kind of avoid plagiarizing the works that you're citing, please just talk to me. It's not a problem. We can meet and talk through the issues. But please, I emphasize this very strongly. You get in big trouble if you try to pass off work that's not yours, or you've already reused for other classes or had AI generate for you. So please don't do that, and we should get along nicely. So for late submissions to class, any assignment that's submitted after the due date will just be docked 10% and just right off the top. If you need an extension, if you contact me beforehand, not the night before the assignment's due, but a reasonable amount of time beforehand, I'll oftentimes grant an extension for the larger projects, especially if you can give me a good reason why you need the extension. But generally, I just take 10% off. I wouldn't. This is fairly. I'm being a little easier on this late assignment, late submission this semester, and I want to see how that works. I would encourage you not to take advantage of, oh, it's just 10% off, but really try to get things in on time. It'll keep you on top of your assignments. It'll keep everything flowing correctly. If you put everything off to the end, inevitably you'll get crunched for time, and you'll produce poor quality work, which will reduce your grade as well, in addition to the late submission thing. So again, try to get everything on time for the due date. It'll keep you on top of your work and doing a good job. That said, if I see that you're students individually are consistently submitting things late, I will contact you and we'll have a discussion about what can we do to get things back on track. Because I know if you put things off, inevitably you'll get in trouble at the end of the semester. So again, while this is maybe a little bit of a easier late submission policy that I've had in the past, I would encourage you all very strongly to keep very strict deadlines to what I've put on the assignments. So to wrap up, make sure to read the syllabus. All this information I've talked about in this lecture is on the syllabus. It's really important you read it. Again, there's a couple questions on the first quiz that are taken from the syllabus. Plan ahead. Plan ahead for your concert experiences. Plan ahead to make your write-in center consultations. Make all those things early, and really be present. What I mean by that is watch the lectures, do the readings, and do it all in a nice progressive manner. Don't save it. Don't procrastinate till the very end. It just makes life a lot harder for everyone.
And so finally, if you've made it all the way through this video, I applaud your perseverance. It's not the most fun class lecture, just going over the assignments and things like that. But I want to address, if you have any questions, certainly reach out to me. I want to have as much interaction with you as I can. If you have questions, certainly email me. We can set up a Zoom meeting. The Canvas messaging is fine. I don't actually see that as quickly as I see email. So if you want to get a more immediate response, certainly email me. If I make a comment on one of your papers or things like that, certainly, again, email me back if you have questions about that. If you comment or you comment back to me on a paper or an assignment that you have, I won't actually see that unless I go to that assignment itself. So I won't see those. So try to keep your communications with me through email or through Zoom or Canvas messaging at the last resort. Again, take this course progressively. Try to do a couple classes a week, and you'll feel it's not that hard. If you put it off till the end, it's going to be quite difficult. If you have questions, certainly email message me. You can also post questions for your fellow classmates on Canvas. That might be helpful. If you're on the wait list, email me and we can get you added to the class, and everything should work out. I really look forward to getting to know you guys throughout the semester, and we'll have a good time. And the communication is the key, and I hope you enjoy the class. And I'm really open to feedback as well, so please be in contact with me as much as we can. Thanks.